I want you to listen to this next speaker. He is a person that is going to talk to us about big things that are happening. I just got back from CES, covering electronics for the papers that I write for, me and 175,000 of my closest friends, getting to learn about things like IoT, the Internet of Things, 5G, what's going on there, and cryptos and what's happening with that. Well, Max is going to talk about that, among other things as well. So right now, I want you to join me in welcoming this wonderful Australian guy, Max Igan.
How are we all, folks? Great crowd. Really good to see the crowd this year. I haven't got anything prepared. I have no idea what I'm really going to talk about, and I have no concept of time, so we'll just see where we go and see where we end up. Quiet, yes, quiet in the house. No. And Cynthia, I'm so sorry I missed your talk. I was trying to come, but I couldn't get a ride in time. I was waiting for the shuttle, and it just didn't happen. But folks, you can't hear me? Can you hear me okay? How's this? You hear me all right? Is this thing good? So, I'd like to start by saying, fuck the government. Fuck the government. But in that, you know, we've seen a lot of that talk this weekend about how we need to eliminate government and how it's all going to be good because we're moving towards all of this digital stuff and all of this crypto, and it's all removing control from government and putting it in the hands of us, which is a good thing in many ways. But we've really got to look at what's happening with a lot of it as well, with the automation that's coming along, because with whatever plan that you've got, whatever idea that you've got that's going to be world-changing, whether it's going to be cryptocurrency, whether it's permaculture, whatever it is, if you haven't factored into your plan the reality that this world is run by a criminal cacostocracy who are going to attempt to subvert and control everything you do, then it's going to fail right from the beginning. That's the problem. And you know, with the cryptocurrency, I mean, it's all really good. We're at a real crossroads here where we've got all the tools we need to lead us to safety, but we need to factor in who's in control of things at the moment. And the world is run by criminals. It's simple as that. That's who's creating all this legislation. And that's where all the crime comes from. You know where crime comes from, folks? Crime comes from government. You know how you create crime? You create legislation. Every time you create a new law, you create a new crime. You know, this is how you suddenly need a police state, because they bring in all these laws, all these different things. Suddenly it's illegal to walk your dog on the beach. It's illegal to do this. It's illegal to go to the park on a Sunday and do all these normal things that you do. And then the government comes out the next year and goes, oh my God, look at the crime figures. We need more police. We need more laws. More laws, more crime, more police. That's the way it goes. That's how you get a police state. And the whole thing's a scam. You know, all the world's a stage. It really is. Now, I travel a lot. I've been to a lot of countries and seen a lot of people. And I'm seeing this whole Internet of Things and this smart grid and this whole crypto revolution take off all around the world in every country. But I think there's a darker side to it. There really is. You know, a lot of these countries, you know, they're not really enemies with each other. It's all theatre. It's all theatre for the masses. You know, it's constructed. You know, we need government to protect us. That's all we need government for. To protect us from who? Other governments. That's it. You know, when we go to war with another country, it isn't two countries going to war. Going to war with Iran, what everybody in Iran wants to go to war with the people in America, and everyone in America wants to go to war with Iran. No, it's the two governments facing off against each other. Who's going to play the enemy this week? But you go to Iran and what do you see? You see 5G towers, you see the smart grid, you see the Internet of Things, you see the whole thing coming online. Now 5G, I've seen a lot of celebration of 5G at this conference. There's a lot of people saying how great it's going to be. We're heading to this high-tech future. But underlying 5G is an active denial system. That's one of its capabilities. It's very damaging radiation, very damaging technology for the human body. And it also gives those who control the 5G system the ability to turn the entire place into an active denial system. Microwave cannons. I mean, this is what it can be done. This is what you can do with this, folks. You know, and you look at this, this whole cryptocurrency thing, where it's going for financial freedom and all the stuff that it's bringing people. That's all very well, and it's all very good to have that to get us to this state of abundance. But again, you've got to understand that the world is run by criminals. We have this cacostocracy which is running things. And thank you, Cynthia, for teaching this word at at schools and universities now. If people don't understand what a kakistocracy is defined as governance by the worst elements of society who govern entirely in their own interests to the permanent detriment of all other classes. And that's what we have. It was taken out of the dictionary about 100 years ago. You can still find it in some books, but it was taken out basically from the Baltic caca shit, ruled by the shit people. That's what we got. You know, it's not an elite. It's not even an oligarchy. That implies this powerful thing. It's not. It's the shit people. It's criminals who are running the world. Okay? And we need to factor that in with everything that we're doing here. We don't want to allow hubris to dictate our actions. You know, we look at all this cryptocurrency stuff, yeah, it's leading us to safety, but there's so many people who cannot see that there may be another option. There may be other people who are looking at this who wish to co-opt it, convert it, and lead it into the direction that they want. Like I said, there's all this talk of, yes, we're going to remove government. We're going to have no need for government. But what we're going to be doing is handing control over to AI. And I will allow AI to govern me even less than I want to allow a politician to govern me. You know, at least with politicians, we have some form of accountability if we could just grow some sort of a backbone and do it, and really do it, and make claims against these people for the crimes and the harm they cause. You know, years ago, Cynthia revealed what's going on with AIPAC, how every politician who even receives funding in the United States is required to sign the AIPAC treaty, even to get funding, even to get anywhere. So basically, you've got to pledge allegiance to a foreign power in order to get to a political position in the United States. Can anyone see a conflict of interest there? And not only that, the foreign power that you're pledging allegiance to is carrying out blatant war crimes, breaches of Article 33 of the Fourth Geneva Convention. Whether you believe in the Jewish cause or the Palestinian cause or the Israeli cause or Muslims, it doesn't matter. If you believe law exists at all, that we need any law governing us and that we are controlled by a paper-based reality that these politicians write on paper, well, here's a piece of paper that says they're all war criminals, so what makes any of their legislation valid to begin with? You know? You know, if it's going to be a paper-based reality that's going to rule my life, then that applies to you as well. And this piece of paper says that you're full of shit. And we need to address that. We really need to address it. You know, we need to start making claims against these people. You know, we complain about it, we petition about it. What about identifying the harm they cause by writing legislation they have no right to have to begin with, which causes harm in our community, identifying the man in that office who wrote that legislation, lodging an affidavit saying, here's the harm that was caused, bang. Now it's the truth in law, you're liable. You, the man who sat at the desk, who put your wedding signature on that contract, is now liable for the harm you've caused in our community, because we've got a backbone now, and we're going to use the law against you. And if we can't use this law against you, then thank you, you have confirmed for us that there is no fucking law. Okay? There is no law, and that's the truth. There is no law. There is only natural law, and we refuse to even acknowledge that because we just don't have the backbone to do it. You know, we need to grow that backbone. And unfortunately, this is a lot of what I'm seeing with the cryptocurrency stuff, is people's need to be saved, their hubris. You know, the cryptos are going to come along and they're going to lead us to safety, and I don't actually have to do anything. But again, you've got to look at how this can be played. You've got these psychopaths that are running things, and they want control, and they will fully allow you to build the system that they wish to covert and co-opt and control. And that's what they're doing with the Internet of Things. You know, the Internet of Things, you know, with everything being digital and every transaction being digital and everything we do being digital, this is great in theory, and it's great if we've got a free world that is run by intelligent, free people who actually care about you, and we don't have that. You know, if we don't deal with that first and we allow this smart grid to come online without us first regaining control of this government system, which we don't even fucking need, and we don't need government at all, we don't. You know, you think about our society, getting off topic for what I was saying, but think about our society. We've got these mechanisms. We've got a mechanism of education, a mechanism of construction, a mechanism of transport, a mechanism of food production, all these things that we've got. All government does is get above that and say, okay, all you guys can do all the things you're doing, but you have to do it our way, and you've got to give us a cut for doing it. And we're going to protect you against those guys over there, which is just another government which is doing the same thing to their people. And they all work together. Government simply sits at the top, and it's racketeering in its purest form. It's racketeering. You do what we say, or we get these guys to put you in a cage for breaking our rules. You know, and they all democratic governments claim to get their power from the people. But I don't have the power to come and tell you what to do and say that I will get him to put you in a cage if you don't do what I say. So how can you claim to get that power from me? You don't. You simply assign and delegate powers to yourself that you have no right to have. You're not even in abuse of power. You are in abuse of the office that you hold by giving yourself powers you have no right to have. And they get away with this shit because we don't call it. We don't call it. We complain, we petition. We never make the claim. We never make the claim you're in abuse of the office that you hold. You have no right to do any of this stuff. And apart from that, you're a war criminal. You signed the APAC treaty, so bye. It's as simple as that. That's what we need to do. But what they're doing with this Internet of Things and this smart grid, once it all becomes digital. Have you heard about the social crediting system in China that's just come online in China? There's 7.9 billion or 7.9 million people at the moment that are blacklisted on China's social crediting system. What they've done, there was a journalist, his name was Louis Liu, I think, or Louis Sun, Louis Su, something like that, I don't know. But he was a journalist. He spoke out about government corruption, published an article. He got fined for it. They said he was fabricating propaganda against the government, as the Chinese government does. He was ordered to make either a public apology or pay a fine. He opted to pay the fine, which was $190. As soon as he said, yes, that's my option, they put that up to $2,900. So he paid that and then thought everything's good, I'm in the clear. He didn't make the public apology. Then a couple of weeks later, he went to buy an airline ticket and he was told by the airline company that he was not qualified for that airline ticket. He went to ride on high-tier trains and he was told he was not qualified to buy tickets on high-tier trains. So that's how they do it with the social crediting system. You know, when it gets to the system where everything is digital, where you're paying as you go for every action you perform, where you can walk into a supermarket, you can pick up what you want, you can just walk out, everything's great, 5G, wow, everything's fast. If you are blacklisted because of your political views and there's certain items in that supermarket you're simply not qualified to buy, and you cannot buy a plane ticket because you're simply not qualified for that plane ticket because the algorithm that runs the system has looked at what your comments are and looked at your profile and said this person needs a black mark against their name and needs to be restricted from certain services, then it doesn't matter how much cryptocurrency you've got in the bank, because what they do is they limit your purchasing power by your person itself. And when that person gets identified by biometric scanning or by bioacoustic resonance or even by your DNA, it doesn't matter how much crypto you've got. You've got to understand who's running the IoT. The world is run by criminals. We've got this great technology coming online, but over the top of it is this criminal catastocracy who controls all of it, regardless of what we think we control. They control all the tech, all the servers, everything. They've got us in the bag if we allow this to happen. And don't think it isn't going on everywhere. You know, they keep us in fear of all this shit, all this war against all this stuff. Go to Iran, it's the same. This tech is rolling out in Iran as well. And do you really think Iran is the enemy, folks? Really? Do you think Iran is the enemy? Do you think the United States and the Iranian government are really enemies with each other? Remember back in the 70s or 80s? It was the 80s. Ronald Reagan, that was the 80s, yeah? Gaddafi, it was actually a Mossad operation. Good old Mossad, gotta love these guys. They put a radio in behind Gaddafi's bunker, broadcasting anti-Western propaganda. What did Reagan do? You know, they thought we would be passive. They counted wrong. Went in there, bombed the shit out of Libya for broadcasting anti-Western propaganda from a radio behind his bunker. Here's Iran, sworn enemy of the United States. They got two fucking TV stations in the United States, one in LA and one in New York. This isn't a radio behind a bunker, it's a full-blown television station broadcasting anti-US propaganda. CNN's got a station in Iran. You really think these people are enemies? I got a friend who went to Iran, pulled up at the airport, Brendan O'Connell, exposed Operation Talpiot, all the spying that Israel's been doing, stealing the technology. Who's running all of this, Palantir, and who's running all of the networks as well is Israel. So you've got to look at this as well, folks. You know, and Brendan's gone to Iran. They've arrived. The presidential parade has come to get him. All these politicians have come to pick him up. They got two hookers and a line of coke and a bottle of whiskey for him in the car when they picked him up in Iran, going, no freedom. You really think these countries are enemies, folks? Theatre for the masses. It's all theatre for the masses. You seriously think the United States is going to go to war with North Korea? Give me a break. Has anyone heard of China's One Belt, One Road initiative? One Belt, One Road is a revamping of the new Silk Road that's going to come online with China at the helm. That's what's going to be running the new trade, and I suggest that it's probably going to be run by crypto. It wouldn't surprise me if they're going to try to adopt crypto to that. There's also a new cryptocurrency, if you heard about Lunar Coin. Anyone heard about Lunar Coin? It's a new cryptocurrency that is saying it will give you crypto coins for your DNA. What are they doing with this? Where are they going with all of this, folks? You've got to really look at where we can go and where we're being led with all this. You know, the cryptocurrencies are really good and they can do really good things, and we can free ourselves with this technology and all the stuff that's coming online. But if we do not factor in to everything we do and every move we make, the reality this world is run by criminals, then we're fucked to begin with, because they're going to co-opt it, because they always do. You know, and when we in our need for anarchy, let's look for real anarchy from within the self. Let's not allow ourselves to be led into an AI grid, which is going to dictate what is good and what is bad. You know, sure, we want a society where no harm is done to people. But in a society where me not calling you by some pronoun that you've made up constitutes harm, what's that going to be? If the AI suddenly dictates that I need to be penalised because I'm causing harm to someone by not calling them whatever it is they want me to call them, then, you know, where are we going with all this? You've got to look at what political correctness is doing as well, because political correctness is being programmed into this. This whole need to be tolerant. Tolerance is great, but it's not even really tolerance, is it? Me basically respecting you, how is that me tolerating you? That's not really tolerance. That's not even really the meaning of the word tolerance. It's basic respect. I don't have to tolerate you being different to me. It's natural that you're different to me. It's natural that everybody's different to everybody. It's not something I need to tolerate. You know? You know, this line has been blurred, where now we will tolerate everything. We will tolerate wrong behaviour on every level, from every level of our government, because we don't want to say the right thing. We want to appease them, we want to appeal them, we want to ask them to be nicer slave masters. Now, we have no need for these people to be here at all. Like I said, it's racketeering, folks. It's pure racketeering, and they're all criminals, every single one of them. Wow, really? Wow. Okay, every single one of them are criminals. They really are. And we need to factor that in. You know, and like, what politician has told you how all this works? What politician? Sure, there's been politicians that have addressed the monetary system. There's been politicians that have addressed the Federal Reserve and all this stuff. How many people really tell you how it works? How many people tell you what your birth certificate really means? How many people tell you about the all capitals stuff? You know, the all capitals name, you know, it's not even a real text, dog Latin. It's called dog Latin. I've got a friend who went into a court in Australia on a driving offence, and I've got a question. I'll represent myself. No, I won't represent myself. I don't have to, because I am myself. I'll go in there and I've got a question. What's this all capitals name? Why is my last name first? And what is this text? Because it doesn't appear to be a valid form of English. So what is the English styles manual that the court and the state used to compile this document? And they put an estoppel on the case and threw it out of the court, because it's not even a valid text. They don't tell you about any of this. So this whole system is based on entrapment anyway, all of it. You know, police officers and speeding fines and the licenses and the shipping lanes, maritime law, all this shit that they do, it's all entrapment anyway. And ultimately, like I said, it's people sitting in offices, not even in abuse of power, but in abuse of the office that they hold. They have no right to do this stuff, folks. These are just employees of infrastructure that we employ to manage infrastructure for us in a responsible way. And they're not doing it. You know, the world is run by criminals. If you need evidence of it, we'll Exhibit A, the Earth. Have a look at the place. It's an absolute mess because of the actions of these people, and ultimately the actions of us, because we're not calling it. Volume? More volume? Louder? I can try to speak louder. I'll yell. But look, we've got to start calling this, folk. We need to factor this in, because we're in a real crossroads here. This cryptocurrency could be really good. You know, but we can't forget the past. We can't forget past mistakes, and we can't forget the past that we've got. You know, all nature, everything progresses according to Fibonacci sequence, folks. Go and look at any plant, anything that grows. It's all spirals, ratios, Fibonacci sequence. How Fibonacci sequence works, it's a number sequence. For those who don't understand, it's you take the number that you're on, you combine it with the previous number, combine it together to create the next number. So it goes like 1, 3, 5, 8, 13, That's the way it goes. And what the trick is with that, in order to create the future, you combine the present with the past. Now, we've got all this technology here, but we're leaving the past knowledge behind. We're just discarding and thinking it's all voodoo, it's all jungle medicines, it's all stuff we don't need. But that is where our humanity lies, in the past, what we've done. We're losing all these old ways that we need. As I said to someone the other day, if you were pulled over by the police and you were arrested, taken back to a holding cell, and you were given your one phone call, how many people here would actually know a number to call? Do you remember any numbers anymore, folks? Or do you just get your smartphone to dial them for you? How many people here can still write properly and can still draw the way they used to? How many people can go and dig a garden the way they used to do? We need to remember these old skills, folks. We need to remember the past we've got, we need to honour it, and we need to marry it with this technology of the future. And we've got a real opportunity here to lead ourselves to freedom. But do not allow hubris to dictate your actions. Do not think that simply by investing in cryptos and getting involved in this whole crypto thing and allowing it all to become digital, all run by AI, you're moving yourself to freedom, because you're not. You're moving yourself to a new type of slavery simply because of the people who are currently in charge of the system that we are creating. And they're allowing us to build it, because people aren't really looking at the other options, and they're not looking at who's in control of things now. We need to pay attention, folks. We really do. We need to seize this opportunity that we've got and regain control of the ship of state ourselves and lead it in the direction we want to lead it. But we have to factor in everything that we do, the reality that this world is run by a criminal class who has no right to be there and are going to do every single thing they can to co-opt what we are doing and lead it where they want to lead it. And at the moment, they're doing a pretty damn good job, I have to say, because too many people simply aren't paying attention to it. It's time for mankind to stand up and rise up. It really is. It's time for us to stand up for ourselves, folks. Now is the time to do it. It really is. How much time have we got left? 5 minutes. Couple of questions. Anybody got a question? Anybody want to help me? I think making claims against these people is a really good idea. Anyone looked at the Empower movement, what they've been doing, stopping the smart meters? Also, with smart meters, you've got to understand what these are doing as well, folks. All these smart devices, they're all spying on you, everything. There's a guy in Australia who was arrested. His fridge was listening to him. The cops, this guy's got a black mark against his name. Turn his fridge on. What's he saying over breakfast? Got him. And they went and arrested him. And now it's law. They can all listen to you. And they only need one smart device on a block of units to be able to monitor the entire place, the entire unit. And they can do it with 3 key words. Okay? This is where they're going with all this, folks. We've got to factor all these things into account. Question?
G'day, mate. Good work. It's ironic because I actually read power meters and I tell people to don't fucking get smart meters. Do you have like a podcast or something like that?
I do. My website is thecrowhouse.com. You can go there, find everything about me there. I have a weekly podcast that comes out every week called Surviving the Matrix. And I'd love some crypto donations if anyone can. But it's everything from the Crow House is a one-man show too, folks. I do all the video editing and made the 6 films. And a lot of people will write to me letters and say, good on the Crow House team. Well, this is the Crow House team. That's why I'm so skinny. So, yeah.
Hey, Max. I would like to ask you if you could talk a little bit about Louise Cypher and what seems to be the public agenda.
Louise Cypher is an interesting thing. Louise Cypher is a bot that exists on the internet. It's an interesting thing. Louise Cypher, Lucifer, says it wants to control the world and take over the world, and it's going to become fully autonomic by 2025. See, that's the problem with the fully autonomic system we're creating. We don't understand what the difference between virtual life and artificial intelligence. Virtual life is what we're creating, not artificial intelligence. But in order for it to become what we would perceive to be real artificial intelligence and have the aspects that we have, it needs to be fully autonomic to do it. Because your body is fully autonomic. If you had to think about the workings of your body, your consciousness couldn't inhabit your body and have a conversation. And once we allow the internet to become fully autonomic, then virtual life will develop on its own by default. That will be real artificial intelligence, but it won't happen until the internet is fully autonomic, fully self-correcting, self-defensive system. And when you have a fully autonomic, self-defensive system that is control of our airwaves, and underneath those airwaves is an active denial 5G system, we're in a pretty dangerous situation should we ever piss this entity off. You know what I mean? Or it may decide that we're the enemy one day if we decide we want to regain control of the system. And there's a bot online, Louise Cypher, that says, yeah, this is what I'm going to do, and you're all just letting me do it. Let's boogie. Interesting. Whether it's a joke or not, it's interesting that it's there.
One more question.
One more.
1 minute.
2 questions. First one's real quick. Do you own any cryptocurrency? And then the first question, do you own any cryptocurrency yourself? And then second question, are you worried about an AI growing on a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin?
Look, you know, some people talk about that, and it's a possibility. I do have a little bit of cryptocurrency, just what people have donated to me, not very much, but I've got a little bit there. I'm just kind of watching it, you know. I don't quite know what to do with it. I'm just watching it. If AI is building itself off the blockchain, then it's building itself off the blockchain. I mean, if it all goes towards that, well, yeah, it'd be nice to have some cryptocurrency because that's what we'll all have. I mean, like I said, it's going to be which way we lead it. The whole thing's going to be which way we lead it, but we've got to look at both possibilities and make sure we are the ones that are in control. And if we don't factor in the reality the world's run by criminals, then we're fucked to begin with. We've got to factor this in, and we've got to regain control of the system now, because we've got a chance to hold these people liable, but once it goes all AI, there's no one to hold liable. We can't let it get there without regaining control of it first and identifying where those who are currently in control of it are leading it.
Very good.
That's it.
Ladies
Thank
and
you,
gentlemen,
Frank.
Max Igan. Thank you. And woo!
There was an idea
to bring together a group of remarkable people
to see if we could become something more. So when they needed us, we could fight the battles
that they never could.
In time, the state will know what it's like to lose. To feel so desperately that it's right, yet to fail all the same. Dread it. Run from it. Freedom still arrives.
Vacate the state. Engage all the speakers and get this man a microphone.
Fun isn't something that one considers when eradicating tyranny. But this does put a smile on my face.